top 10 countries that will actually pay you or at least stop taxing you into the ground just for retiring there. And no, this isn't a scam pitch. It's real, it's documented, and in some cases, these countries don't just tolerate you showing up with a social security card in a suitcase. They roll out actual financial incentives to get you to stay. If you've ever done the math on your retirement savings and felt your stomach drop, you are nowhere close to alone. The cost of living in the US keeps climbing. Healthcare premiums keep climbing faster. And nobody should have to choose between refilling a prescription and buying groceries after 40 years of working. Here's the part most people never hear about. There are countries actively offering tax breaks, retiree-specific visas, legally mandated senior discounts, and in a few genuinely wild cases, straight up cash to move in. We're not talking about anywhere sketchy or unstable either. Every country on this list is peaceful, low cost, and has an actual government program built around welcoming retirees. Most Americans have no idea any of this exists or how much of it could change their retirement math completely. So stick with us because we're about to walk through 10 countries where your money stretches further, your stress drops, and in a couple of cases, you genuinely get paid just to live there. And because programs like these change fast, and some of the ones you've probably already heard about have quietly changed in ways most retirement content online still hasn't caught up with, we've dug into the current 2026 rules for every single one on this list. So you're working from an accurate picture instead of outdated blog advice recycled from 5 years ago. Number 10, Albania, the Mediterranean everyone's sleeping on. I know what you're thinking. Albania? Really? Stick with me. This quietly might be one of the smartest retirement plays nobody's talking about yet. Wedged between Greece and Montenegro, Albania is basically Italy's understated cousin, turquoise coastline, ancient cities, mountains, and beaches, minus the $8 cappuccinos and the cruise ship crowds. U.S. citizens can currently stay in Albania visa-free for a full year, which is a genuinely remarkable window compared to the standard 90-day Schengen limits most Americans are used to navigating elsewhere in Europe. No mountain of paperwork, no bureaucratic maze, just book the flight and go. And the cost of living here makes even budget-minded retirees feel like they're cheating the system. Apartments in coastal towns run as low as $300 to $400 a month, and a full sit-down meal at a family-run restaurant, wine included, can come in under $5. In some U.S. cities, $5 doesn't even cover a side of fries. What makes Albania especially appealing right now is how under the radar it still is. Digital nomads and early retirees are starting to notice, but it hasn't been swallowed by overpriced expat enclaves or cruise ship tourism the way so much of the Mediterranean has. Translation, you're getting in while it's still genuinely authentic. Crime is low. Locals are famously hospitable. They offer you their last slice of bread, kind of hospitable. And English is spoken more widely than most people expect, especially among younger Albanians who grew up on American pop culture and YouTube. One important note, if you're actually planning this long term, visa-free entry is a tourist stay, not permanent residency. So anyone serious about settling here needs to look into Albania's longer-term residence permits well before that year runs out. Albania might not hand you a government check with your welcome mat, but it pays you back in peace, affordability, and a quality of life most Western retirees only see in brochures. Number 9, Uruguay, the quiet, dependable friend of South America. If retirement had a personality, Uruguay would be the one who shows up on time, remembers your birthday, and waters your plants without being asked. This small country tends to get overshadowed by flashier neighbors, Argentina's drama, Brazil's spectacle, but Uruguay isn't trying to impress anyone. It's just quietly excellent at the retirement game. Start with the serious stuff. Uruguay is consistently ranked as one of the safest, most politically stable democracies in all of Latin America. which is worth an actual standing ovation when you're thinking about where to spend your golden years, especially compared to some of the more volatile political climates elsewhere on this continent. Uruguay has also long offered a tax holiday on foreign-sourced income for new tax residents, historically running around 5 to 11 years, depending on the specific income category, where income earned outside the country, including pensions, dividends, and interest, isn't taxed by Uruguay at all. The specifics of how long that holiday runs and what exactly qualifies have shifted over the years as Uruguay has periodically updated the legislation. So anyone seriously considering this needs current guidance from a Uruguayan tax advisor rather than a 5-year-old blog post. But the underlying principle that Uruguay doesn't come after your foreign retirement income the way plenty of other countries eventually do has remained a consistent and very real draw for decades now. Lifestyle-wise, Uruguay is a masterclass in unhurried coastal living. Think Punta del Este or La Paloma, seaside strolls, local markets, cafe culture, all without the crowds or chaos of bigger beach destinations. Healthcare is genuinely well handled here too. Uruguay runs a strong universal healthcare system that foreigners can access, often through private co-ops called mutualistas, for somewhere around $100 to $150 a month, delivering a level of care that would cost you dramatically more back home with facilities and outcomes that consistently rank among the best in Latin America. And Uruguay feels less commercialized than its neighbors, without losing an ounce of charm, no wall-to-wall chain stores, no aggressive billboards, just clean streets, a strong middle class, and a kind of tranquility that isn't for sale anywhere else on this list. Add in a genuinely stable legal system that protects foreign property owners the same way it protects citizens, and you've got a country that rewards patience over flash every single time. If your idea of retirement means real stability, freedom from aggressive tax exposure, and a life built on simplicity rather than spectacle, Uruguay deserves serious consideration. Number 8, rural Spain, where the wine costs less than water. Barcelona and Madrid get all the tourist attention, but it's rural Spain quietly rolling out the welcome mat for retirees, and in some cases, handing out actual money to do it. Spain has a genuine demographic crisis in its countryside, entire villages sitting at risk of what locals call España vaciada, or emptied Spain. And a number of small towns and rural provinces across the country have run relocation grant programs aimed directly at fighting that decline, essentially paying new residents to move in and bring some life back to villages that have been slowly emptying out for decades. These programs come and go and vary heavily by region and year. So if this is the deciding factor for you, you'll need to check what's currently active in the specific province you're eyeing, but the underlying trend, provinces actively incentivizing repopulation rather than just hoping people show up, has been real and ongoing for years now. Healthcare is a major reason to take Spain seriously, regardless of any grant. Spain's public healthcare system is consistently ranked among the best in Europe, and it won't quietly bleed your retirement account dry the way an American hospital bill can. The main path in for retirees with steady income like Social Security or a pension is Spain's non-lucrative visa, which grants residency without work authorization, which, let's be honest, most retirees aren't chasing anyway. Then there's daily life itself, a decent bottle of wine for around $3, a basket of fresh tomatoes, jamon, and local cheese, and still change left over for the bus ride home. Rural Spain runs on mild winters in the south, endless sunshine, cobblestone streets, food festivals for seemingly every ingredient imaginable, and locals who treat every single meal like a small ceremony. If your ideal retirement decision tree starts and ends with red or white, rural Spain might genuinely be calling your name. Number 7, Malta, small island, serious tax logic with one big asterisk. If your version of retirement means waking up on a sunny island where everyone already speaks English. Malta looks like the postcard version of that dream. English is one of Malta's official languages, so you're not fumbling through a translation app just to order breakfast. The island gets over 300 days of sunshine a year, has EU standard healthcare, a genuinely efficient public bus system, and a pace of life that's relaxed without ever feeling sleepy. Malta also has zero inheritance tax, zero wealth tax, and zero gift tax, which quietly matters a lot more to long-term retirees than most people realize when they're first researching a move. Here's the asterisk almost nobody mentions in these retirement roundups. Malta's famous 15% flat tax program for retirees, officially called the Malta Retirement Program, is currently only open to EU, EEA, and Swiss nationals. If you're an American retiree, that specific 15% flat tax door is closed to you entirely, no matter how many blog posts and old YouTube videos still advertise it as a universal option. US citizens looking at Malta typically go through a different route entirely. The Malta Permanent Residence Program, which is an investment-based residency path involving a property purchase or long-term lease of a qualifying value plus a government administrative contribution, and it comes with its own separate tax treatment rather than that headline 15% pension rate. It's still a legitimate, well-run path to Maltese residency with real perks, including visa-free travel across the Schengen area for up to 90 days in any 180-day period, but it's a fundamentally different program with different costs and a different application process. So anyone hearing Malta, 15% flat tax, needs to double check which program they actually qualify for before getting attached to that number. For the EU and EEA nationals who do qualify for the MRP itself, the terms are genuinely attractive. A flat 15% tax on foreign pension income actually remitted into Malta with a minimum annual tax floor of 7,500 euros for the main applicant plus 500 euros per dependent, while any foreign income you simply leave abroad and never bring into the country stays untouched by Maltese tax entirely. Malta remains genuinely attractive for the lifestyle, the safety, the healthcare, and the English-speaking ease of it all. Just go in with accurate expectations about which door you're actually walking through and what it will actually cost you to open it. Number 6, Mexico, close, affordable, and startlingly easy to get into. Tacos, turquoise beaches, and a cost of living low enough to make checking your bank balance an actually pleasant experience. It's no surprise Mexico remains one of the single most popular retirement destinations for Americans, with an estimated 1 million or more US citizens already living there. And not just for the margaritas, although that's absolutely still on the table. Start with the obvious advantage, proximity. You can leave most US cities and be sipping tamarind juice on a Mexican patio in under 4 hours, which means you're never impossibly far from grandkids, from an Amazon delivery, or from that one dentist back home you irrationally still trust. That proximity matters more than people expect. Once you actually live it, flights home for holidays or emergencies stay short and cheap in a way that a 12-hour flight to Southeast Asia simply can't match. Mexico's retiree-friendly residency visa gives long-term residents legal status if you can show stable income like Social Security or a pension, and it remains one of the more accessible retirement visa processes in the world without the mountain of bureaucratic red tape that trips people up elsewhere. Healthcare is a genuine strength here too. Mexico has become a serious medical tourism destination, and we're talking internationally accredited private hospitals, English-speaking doctors, and modern equipment, often at 30 to 70% less than equivalent care costs in the US, which is exactly why so many Americans without employer coverage end up paying out of pocket here and still coming out ahead financially compared to their old US premiums. And the overall cost of living, depending on the region, typically runs somewhere between 50 and 70% below US levels. Rent, groceries, transportation, all dramatically more affordable without sacrificing real comfort. You can genuinely live well in Mexico on what would barely cover your utility bills stateside. Popular retirement hubs like San Miguel de Allende, Lake Chapala, and the Riviera Maya each offer their own distinct flavor. Colonial mountain towns, lakeside expat communities, or full beachfront living. So there's real variety packed into one accessible, familiar feeling country. Add it up, and Mexico offers a rare blend of affordability, easy travel access, and quality of life that's genuinely hard to top on this list. Number 5, the Philippines, where the warmth of the people matches the warmth of the climate. If retirement for you means warm weather, warmer people, and a currency that stretches like it's made of rubber, the Philippines deserves a serious look. This archipelago of more than 7,000 islands isn't just postcard beaches and dramatic sunsets, though it has plenty of both. It's also one of the most genuinely welcoming and affordable retirement destinations anywhere in Asia, and the government has built an entire visa category specifically to attract retirees like you. The Special Resident Retirees Visa, the SRRV, is administered by the Philippine Retirement Authority, a government agency that exists purely to court foreign retirees, and it functions almost like a VIP lane through immigration, offering multiple entry privileges, exemptions from certain taxes, and discounts on flights, medical care, and government fees. Depending on which SRRV tier you qualify for, the required deposit ranges from a modest few $1,000s up to tens of thousands placed in an approved Philippine bank, which can later be converted into an investment like real estate once your residency is secured. Medical care itself is surprisingly affordable and competent, with many doctors trained in the US or Europe and English widely spoken, so you're not left miming your symptoms to explain a bad knee. On cost of living, many retirees comfortably live on under $1,200 a month across large parts of the country, covering rent, food, internet, and usually enough left over for the occasional beachfront massage. Popular retirement spots range from the cooler mountain air of Baguio to the laid-back island pace of Dumaguete and Palawan, giving retirees a genuine choice between city convenience and full island quiet, depending on what they're actually chasing. And the culture here treats age with real respect rather than as an inconvenience, family-oriented, deeply courteous toward elders, the kind of place where you're not just retiring, you're being welcomed into a community. The humidity may have a personal grudge against your hairstyle, but with hospitality this genuine and cost this low, that's a fairly easy trade. Number 4, Portugal. Still beautiful, still safe, but the tax story has actually changed. Portugal has spent the last decade being held up as the golden child of retirement destinations, largely thanks to its non-habitual resident program, the NHR, which for years let foreign retirees bring in pension income at dramatically reduced tax rates for a full decade. Here's the update. Almost every retirement listicle online still hasn't caught up to. The original NHR program closed to new applicants back in 2024 with a final transitional cutoff on March 31, 2025. It has been replaced by a new regime called IFSI, sometimes nicknamed NHR2, and this new program is explicitly built for a different crowd entirely. IFSI stands for the Tax Incentive for Scientific Research and Innovation, and it targets highly qualified professionals working in science, technology, research, and innovation sectors, offering a 20% flat tax on qualifying Portuguese employment or self-employment income. It was not designed around passive retirement income like pensions the way the old NHR was. So retirees moving to Portugal today generally shouldn't expect that old sweeping tax break anymore, no matter how many older articles are still telling you otherwise. If you already locked in NHR status before the cutoff, the good news is you keep your original 10-year benefits in full. That status isn't retroactively affected. But anyone arriving fresh in 2026 needs a completely updated financial plan built around standard Portuguese tax rates instead. The good news is that everything else that made Portugal appealing hasn't gone anywhere. Portugal remains one of the safest countries on the planet by any international ranking. The kind of place where a midnight walk through town mostly risks you getting emotionally ambushed by a street musician playing fado a little too well. Healthcare remains genuinely excellent and affordable by Western standards, consistently ranked among the best public systems in Europe. The cost of living, particularly outside Lisbon and Porto in smaller towns and rural regions like the Silver Coast or the Algarve's quieter inland towns, stays refreshingly low, and public transportation and infrastructure actually work the way you'd want them to. Trains that run on schedule, buses that connect small towns to major hubs without requiring a car. The expat community remains large, active, and welcoming, full of people whose quick visit quietly turned into a decade of staying. With established retiree networks in cities like Coimbra and Tavira, making the adjustment far easier than going it alone. Portugal is still absolutely worth serious consideration. Just go in understanding you're likely planning around standard Portuguese tax rules now, not the old NHR headline numbers still floating around the internet from articles that never got updated. If you've made it this far into the list, seriously, you're doing your retirement homework properly. Go ahead and like this video, drop a comment, and hit subscribe, because the top 3 are where this gets genuinely interesting. Number 3, Italy, where towns are trying to pay you to move in. Yes, you read that correctly. In some cases, Italy is functionally trying to pay you to become a resident. This isn't a scam. It's just Italy solving a real demographic problem the dramatic way. Everyone knows Italy for pasta, wine, and conversations, conducted primarily with hand gestures, but underneath that, it's quietly become one of the most strategically interesting retirement destinations in Europe, thanks to an unusual problem. Entire small towns across the country, particularly in the south, are steadily emptying out as younger generations move to bigger cities like Milan and Rome for work, and local governments are responding by offering real incentives to bring new residents in, retirees very much included, in a national effort that's been unfolding for years across dozens of regions. Various towns over recent years have offered relocation grants running into the tens of thousands of euros, and other municipalities have famously offered homes for a symbolic €1, provided the buyer commits to renovating them within a set time frame, essentially trading a rock-bottom purchase price for a renovation commitment. These offers are genuinely real, but they're also localized, limited, and specific to individual towns and specific windows of time. So you can't just show up expecting a free house. You have to research which municipality currently has an active program and what strings are attached, including minimum renovation budgets and residency commitments that some towns enforce, with real penalties if you back out early. Beyond the headline-grabbing offers, Italy also runs a flat tax regime for new foreign residents in certain southern regions with steep population decline, which can meaningfully reduce your tax exposure depending on your specific financial situation. Historically applying a flat rate on foreign-sourced income, including pensions for qualifying new residents in those designated areas. But honestly, the real draw isn't just financial. It's living somewhere where beauty is baked into daily existence. Ancient ruins between your morning espresso and evening glass of wine, world-class art, rolling vineyards, seaside villages, all essentially in your backyard. Italy isn't just offering a place to retire. It's offering a full lifestyle upgrade, cobblestone streets, unforgettable meals, and the kind of community toast that actually means something. Number 2, Panama, the closest thing to a retirement VIP lounge that actually exists. If retirement had an exclusive club, Panama would be the one waving you past the velvet rope without a cover charge. This small Central American country has built one of the most genuinely generous, well documented retirement programs in the world. And unlike a lot of retirement hype, this one holds up completely under scrutiny. Regularly ranked the best retirement visa on the planet by outlets like International Living, Forbes, and AARP, not just by travel bloggers chasing affiliate links. The centerpiece is the legendary Pensionado visa, created all the way back in 1987 and still going strong in 2026. Here's how it actually works. You need a guaranteed lifetime pension of at least $1,000 a month. U.S. Social Security absolutely qualifies, and that threshold drops to $750 a month if you own qualifying Panamanian property valued at $100,000 or more. There's no minimum age requirement, and unlike most countries that make you sit through years of temporary status first, Panama grants permanent residency immediately upon approval, with the whole process typically wrapping up in 3 to 6 months through a licensed local immigration attorney. Then come the discounts, and this is where Panama genuinely separates itself from everyone else on this list. Panama's Law 6, originally passed back in 1987 and still fully enforced today, legally mandates retiree discounts across huge swaths of daily life. 50% off entertainment and weekday hotel stays, 30% off weekend hotel stays and public transportation, 25% off restaurants and airline tickets, 20% off private medical consultations, 15% off hospital bills and dental and eye care, 10% off prescriptions, even 25% off utility bills up to a set cap, and 50% off mortgage closing costs. These aren't polite suggestions. They're enshrined in law and enforced by Panama's Consumer Protection Agency, ACO-DECO, which can actually fine businesses that refuse to honor them. All you have to do is show your cedula, the Panamanian ID card issued once your pensionado status is approved, and the discount is legally yours to claim. In practice, a retired couple using these consistently can save $400 to $700 a month compared to paying full price, which adds up to $5,000 to $8,000 a year, easily covering the entire cost of getting the visa itself within the first year alone. On top of that, Panama doesn't tax foreign-sourced income, so your Social Security, pension, or 401k withdrawals arrive intact, untouched by Panamanian tax authorities. Add in the fact that Panama runs on the US dollar, so there's no currency conversion math at the grocery store and no surprises at checkout, plus a large, welcoming, English-speaking expat community with over 25,000 American retirees already settled in communities like Boquete, Panama City, and Coronado, and modern infrastructure, including internationally accredited hospitals. And you've got a country that isn't just retirement friendly, it's retirement optimized on almost every axis that matters. The physical presence requirement to keep your status active is minimal too, just 1 day in Panama per calendar year, which gives retirees enormous flexibility to travel and split time elsewhere. After 5 years of permanent residency, pensionado holders can even apply for Panamanian citizenship. If any country on this list earns the title of the golden ticket, it's genuinely this one. Number 1, Ecuador, where being retired quite literally pays. If you've been dreaming of a place where your money stretches further, your blood pressure drops, and locals greet you like a long-lost cousin, Ecuador might be exactly what you're looking for. And here's the part that actually separates it from the rest of this list. Ecuador has legally protected senior discounts written directly into national law on public transportation, utilities, movie tickets, and more. Your age here genuinely works in your financial favor. Half-price bus fares, discounted event tickets, reduced utility bills, all simply for qualifying as a senior resident. A stark contrast to how most Western economies treat aging as a cost to be managed rather than a status to be honored. On the visa side, Ecuador's pensioner visa is built specifically around stable retirement income. And as of 2026, it requires proof of roughly